Hey guys, hope you're all doing well and keeping up with your training, because Daniel LaRusso has become the character that causes quite a bit of confusion throughout his entire tenure in the Miyagi-verse. In the Karate Kid films, of course, he was the primary antagonist, and it was hard not to root for him during these 3 films. However, in the Cobra Kai series, it's quite different. Daniel is now uber successful and wealthy, so we find ourselves rooting for Johnny a little bit more because he's more down on his luck. But perhaps the biggest problem with Daniel that has spanned the duration of the 4 seasons we've seen of him in the show is that he's become obsessed with trying to do things Mr. Miyagi's way and Mr. Miyagi's way only. And it's become engraved in his mind that every other way is wrong, especially through karate. And this was on display a lot more than usual in season 4, and I've actually come to the conclusion that Daniel is the reason why Miyagi Do and Eagle Fang split, which I think ultimately made them lose the All Valley. If you go all the way back to the beginning of season 4, it almost looks like Daniel was beginning to turn over a new leaf and finally accept Johnny's offensive and strike first mentality. And by doing this, one could even argue that it would create a sense of balance into the dojo that Mr. Miyagi was so keen on during the Karate Kid movies. Because the biggest benefit that it would give the 2 dojos is that it would allow the students to be familiar with both offense and defense to give them the best chance to beat Cobra Kai, mostly because they're primarily focused on offense, even though they were unaware that Robbie revealed Miyagi Do methods to his peers. But the one thing that disrupted the peace and fluidity between Miyagi Do and Eagle Fang was the return of Terry Silver. And that is what I think forced Daniel in his mind to begin to dismiss all of Johnny's ideologies and teachings, because he believed Miyagi Do and defense were the only way to beat them, because it worked once in the 80s on one point in sudden death overtime. And I think I speak for most when I say this, that this was completely unfair to Johnny, because Johnny was right. He was Cobra Kai's #1 student for years and knew the ins and outs of Kreese's mind and what he could try to do. Daniel became to be so stubborn to the fact that he was right that he was even willing to fight Johnny on a stage in front of their students just to prove a point. And even when his daughter Sam wanted a broader perspective of both styles, he began to point Eagle Fang as wrong. And then he of course began to become jealous that Sam was becoming like Johnny. And yes, I know Johnny was becoming jealous that Miguel wanted to train with Daniel so much, but the main difference was that Johnny was still willing to work with Daniel and use his style. Daniel was being so close-minded that he didn't want any form of Eagle Fang present once he learned that Terry was back, and this was totally unfair to Johnny for all the knowledge that he knows about the enemy. As frustrating as I thought Daniel was this season, he did finally come to his senses in episode 10 and realize the error of his ways, but unfortunately for the 2 dojos as a whole, it was far too late. Daniel remembered one of Mr. Miyagi's most important lessons.
Just like bonsai, choose one way grow because root strong. You choose one way do karate, same reason.
Yeah, but I do it your way.
Hey, one day you do one way.
And these wise words from Mr. Miyagi couldn't be more true. You shouldn't spend your whole life trying to do something word for word the same exact way as someone else, even if you were as close as Daniel and Mr. Miyagi were. Daniel desperately needed to find his own way of teaching and doing karate now that Mr. Miyagi has since passed on. Like I said, while it was nice that Daniel did finally come to his senses and realize that he was wrong, it was indeed too late, because while Sam did put up a great fight against Tori, and even though the referee was against them, if she trained with Johnny a little bit longer with the convenience of having an easy access to him in the dojo, I think she definitely could have had a better chance of getting the win. And I really think Sam knew it too. That's why she was so adamant about seeking out Johnny to learn from him as much as she could, and that's probably why she was so upset at the end of losing, because she knew what could have happened, but her father just stood in the way of her reaching her goals. But now that Daniel has realized the error of his ways and that offense can be good sometimes, he called in Chosen, who of course is an expert on the offensive side of Miyagi Do, to help him teach his students, even though he did lose the bet. This is kind of off topic, but I think we definitely need Chosen to be like, "We do not honor bet with coward.
We do not honor bet coward."
If Chosen actually says that to Terry Silver, I will bust out laughing. That would be one of the funniest moments in the whole series. But anyways, let's just hope that this lesson and the consequences of losing the tournament will actually show Daniel that his way isn't the only way. Robbie actually said it best in the same exact episode.
You know, everybody thinks their way is the only way. You, my dad, Cobra Kai. Truth is, it doesn't matter which way you fight as long as it works.
And before I conclude this video, I just want to be clear, this isn't a video to bash Daniel. I love his character and I have for most of my life. But I just wanted to point out how he was wrong to do what he did to Johnny and how he let the students down, which actually caused them to lose the tournament in the end. But like Daniel and all of us, we're all human. And as difficult as it may be sometimes admitting when you're wrong, that's one of the strongest things a person can do. And had Daniel done that midway through the season, they just may have gotten rid of Cobra Kai for good. And if that would have happened, we would have gotten way less seasons of Cobra Kai. But enough about me. I want to hear what you guys think. Be sure to let me know down below in the comments section, what did you think of Daniel in Cobra Kai Season 4, and how do you think he can be better in Cobra Kai Season 5? If you've been on my channel before, you know what to do next. If you enjoyed this video, be sure to leave a like and make sure you're subscribed to Strike First Media if you want more Cobra Kai and Karate Kid content just like this. Thank you all so much for watching, and as always, I'll see you in the next one.